Hi, there, I'm Delilah, and you read that right. My sister-in-law's family vacation was planned at the nursing home where I work without my permission. She waltzed in with her husband's family like she owned the place, then looked me in the eye and told my supervisor to reassign that overworked caregiver. That overworked caregiver was me. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was my entire in-law family knew they planned it. They expected me to pay for it in silence. The second I stepped onto the porch of my in-laws' house in Dallas, that familiar weight settled on my shoulders like a heavy blanket I couldn't shake off. It was late May, sticky with the smell of barbecue and lawnmower exhaust hanging in the air. I hadn't been here in nearly 3 months, not because I was avoiding them, but because I knew exactly how this would go. My mother-in-law greeted me with that forced smile, the one that never reached her tired eyes. "Delilah, honey, look at you. Still in those scrubs, huh?" she said, barely touching my shoulder. "You know, you could dress up a little when you visit family," she said. I managed a weak smile. "Hi, Vivian," I said. My father-in-law, Gerald, was already at the kitchen table, halfway through his meatloaf, eyes fixed on his plate like it held the answers to life's biggest questions. And then there was Amber. She was sprawled across the couch like she was modeling for a magazine, wearing some trendy outfit I knew she couldn't afford. Her lips twisted into that superior smirk I'd learned to dread. Well, she said, sitting up straight. "Dallas's favorite mystery nurse returns. Did you finally finish counting pills at the old folks' home?" she said. I didn't take the bait. I just nodded and took a seat at the small dining table. The table was set with Vivian's good plates, the ones that only came out for birthdays, bad news, or family meetings. That should have been my first warning. Dinner started awkwardly. Vivian talked about the weather, Gerald mentioned his back pain, and Amber took photos of her food, making sure to crop me out of every shot. I should have made an excuse and left right then. Instead, I took a bite of green beans and told myself this was just another family dinner. Then Amber pushed back her chair and stood up. "I have something amazing to share," she announced, raising her water glass like it was champagne. "Gerald's 60th is coming up, and we're going to make it unforgettable. Like, vacation of a lifetime unforgettable." I kept eating, my fork frozen halfway to my mouth. "I found this incredible resort in Hawaii. 5-star everything, spa treatments, private beach access, kids club for Emma. Think paradise, but with better room service." She paused, letting the words sink in. "Total cost for all of us? Just under $50,000, she said. My stomach dropped. I set down my fork. She didn't even blink. "And you," she said, pointing straight at me, "get to make this dream happen. Come on, Del, it's not like you're using that tech money for anything important," she continued. The room fell silent. Even the old air conditioner seemed to stop humming. I looked at Vivian, waiting for her to say something. Instead, she tilted her head with that practiced look of concern. "Sweetheart, it really would mean everything to Gerald. You've been so fortunate with your savings. Isn't it time to invest in family memories?" she asked. Gerald kept chewing, didn't look up, didn't say a single word. That's when it hit me like a punch to the gut. I wasn't family. I was a walking ATM. I tried to swallow my rising fury, but it burned like acid in my throat. I pushed back from the table before I said something that would shatter what was left of this fragile piece. Back at my apartment, I collapsed onto my small couch with a cup of tea and tried to wash the evening from my mind. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. It was Tessa, my coworker from the nursing home and the only person who seemed to understand my situation. "Check the family group chat. It's happening." I opened WhatsApp with shaking fingers. The Chen family group was exploding with messages. Amber had posted screenshots of my old LinkedIn profile, the one from my IT consulting days. Next to it, she'd added a photo of my beat-up Honda in the nursing home parking lot. The caption read, "When my rich sister-in-law plays poor, but we all know the truth." The messages were flying fast. Wait, Delilah used to make 6 figures? She's probably still loaded from her tech days. Why is she working at a nursing home then? I stared at my phone screen, my hands trembling so hard I could barely hold it. My chest felt like someone was squeezing it in a vice. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. I wanted to type a message explaining everything, the career change, the savings I'd used to pay for my husband's cancer treatment, the reason I chose caring for others over chasing money. But I didn't. I just watched the messages pile up like a digital avalanche. She thinks this is about a vacation, I whispered to my empty living room. She has no idea what she just unleashed. 3 days passed like a blur. I didn't respond to a single family text, didn't answer any calls from Vivian or Gerald. Tessa offered to block their numbers for me, and honestly, I was tempted. Instead, I turned off read receipts and buried myself in patient care schedules and medication charts. My hands stayed busy, but my stomach stayed twisted in knots. The group chat kept pinging with speculation about my hidden wealth, and questions about why I was slumming it as a nurse. People I barely knew were sharing opinions about my life choices. She's not going to let this go, Tessa said during our break, stirring sugar into her coffee. I know, I replied, staring out the break room window. But she's not the one I'm really worried about, I said. Tessa raised an eyebrow, but I didn't elaborate. I'd felt this building for months, like pressure in my chest before a storm hits. Now the storm was here, and I could see the damage it was going to cause. That Thursday afternoon, I was updating patient files when I saw a familiar silhouette through the glass door of the nursing station. My heart sank into my stomach. Vivian never visited me at work. She walked in carrying a canvas tote bag, looking around like she was inspecting the place. I thought I'd bring you lunch, she said, setting a container of leftover casserole on my desk. This place is so depressing. How do you stand it here all day? She asked. I forced myself to smile. Hi, Vivian, I said. She settled into the visitor chair like she was planning to stay a while. You're working yourself to death, honey. You always have, ever since, well, since we lost him. But maybe it's time to think about living a little, she said. I stayed quiet, but I could feel my coworker's eyes on us through the glass partition. Then Vivian reached into her bag and pulled out a manila folder. I brought something I thought you should see, she said casually, like she was sharing a magazine article. I opened it slowly, expecting medical forms or insurance paperwork. Instead, it was a detailed vacation itinerary. At the top, Gerald's 60th birthday Hawaii adventure. Halfway down the page, highlighted in yellow marker, family contribution, Delilah Chen, $50,000, confirmed. My mouth went dry as desert sand. Confirmed? I said, my voice cracking despite my efforts to stay calm. Who exactly confirmed this? I asked. Vivian's expression didn't change. Sweetheart, let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be. You know we're all on tight budgets now. Gerald's getting older, and family memories are priceless. You're practically his daughter, she said. I set the folder down like it was on fire. Amber posted about my old salary online, I said. She was just excited about the family trip, she said. She invaded my privacy, I said back. She's going through a tough time with little Emma, she said. I stared at her, feeling heat rise in my cheeks. You're seriously asking me to pay for a vacation for the person who just exposed my personal information to strangers? I'm not asking, she said with that calm, practiced tone. I'm sharing the family plan. You've always been the stable one. This is just what families do for each other, she said. There it was. That phrase that made my skin crawl. Family obligation. Not a request, not a discussion. Just an expectation wrapped up in guilt and delivered with a smile. I picked up the casserole container and pushed it back across the desk. Thanks for lunch, I said, my voice flat as cardboard. She looked like I'd physically struck her. Don't be like this, Delilah. You're being so dramatic about everything, she said. I think you've got that backwards, I said. She stood up, smoothing her cardigan like she just closed some kind of business deal. Let me know if you want me to send over the travel agent's information. You're going to love the resort. Very family-friendly, she said. Then she walked out, leaving behind the smell of her vanilla lotion and that cursed folder sitting on my desk. I didn't rip it up. I didn't throw it in the trash. I walked to the break room window and stared out at the parking lot, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. They didn't even pretend to ask. They just decided I'd pay and hoped I'd go along quietly. I stood there longer than I should have, watching cars pull in and out of visitor spaces. The afternoon shift was starting, but I couldn't move. Eventually, I grabbed my things, clocked out early, and drove home through traffic that felt like it was moving underwater. Back in my apartment, I stared at the leftover casserole sitting on my counter, still wrapped in foil like some kind of peace treaty. Vivian used to make that same recipe when my husband was going through chemo. Back then, I thought it meant she cared. Now it felt like a bribe disguised as comfort food. I opened my laptop and tried to focus on something, anything, that wasn't them. Online nursing courses, patient care updates, medication training modules. But my hands just hovered over the keyboard while my mind wandered. That's when the memory crashed into me like a wave. I was 24, sitting in a sterile hospital room, holding my husband's hand while machines beeped around us. He'd just gotten his diagnosis. Stage 3, aggressive, but treatable. Vivian was there, clutching tissues and whispering prayers. "We'll get through this together," she'd said, squeezing my shoulder. "Family takes care of family." "That's what David would want," she said. I remember feeling so grateful, so supported. The next week, I overheard her on the phone with Gerald, her voice sharp with frustration. "The insurance won't cover everything," she was saying. "Thank God Delilah has that tech job. At least someone in this family can handle the bills," she said. And then, when she saw me listening, she smiled like nothing had happened. "Don't worry about the money, honey. That's what family is for, right?" she said. I was 24 and scared, and I nodded. Back then, I thought it was love and sacrifice. I had no idea it was the first payment on a debt I'd never finish paying. My chest felt heavy as I sat in my quiet apartment, surrounded by budget meal containers and nobody asking how I was holding up, just what I could contribute next. They never asked how I felt. They just expected, and when I hesitated, they reminded me of everything they'd done. Guilt was their favorite currency, and I'd been paying interest for years. I started remembering other moments. Amber's beauty school tuition that I helped with because family invests in each other. Christmases where my thoughtful gifts were met with "oh, that's nice," while Amber's cheap presents got praised like treasures. Every kindness I offered came with an unspoken expectation that I'd keep giving. My generosity was never reciprocated, only expected. I opened WhatsApp and started typing a message to the family group. Something diplomatic, something that wouldn't cause waves. "I appreciate the invitation, but I need to think about my budget right now." I stared at the words for a full minute, then deleted every single character. Instead, I walked to my kitchen, opened the freezer, and shoved the casserole inside, right between a bag of frozen vegetables and an old ice cream container. I slammed the door harder than necessary. "I'm not your personal bank account," I whispered to my empty kitchen. "I'm not your guilt trip victim anymore." I didn't cry. I didn't feel sorry for myself either. But for the first time in months, I felt something firm beneath my feet. I used to think family meant sacrifice. Now I'm starting to wonder if it just means knowing when to stop. The next morning, I was back at the nursing home before the sunrise, earlier than usual, before the coffee cart in the lobby even opened. I hadn't slept much, but I didn't feel exhausted. I felt focused, like my mind had decided it was done wasting energy on family drama and was ready to think clearly again. My work inbox was full of the usual messages, shift schedule updates, patient care notes, requests for overtime coverage. But I couldn't concentrate on any of it. Then Tessa appeared in the break room doorway, holding a thick envelope like it was contaminated. "This came to your home address," she said, her voice careful and measured. "Amber dropped it off at your apartment building this morning. The landlord called you, but when you didn't answer, they gave it to me since I'm your emergency contact." She set it on the table in front of me. My full name was written across the front in Amber's loopy handwriting, right under the printed letterhead, Sunset Paradise Resort, Hawaii. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a glossy travel brochure and what looked like a booking confirmation form. Expensive paper, color photos, official seals. Very amber. It was a resort reservation package for 7 people, including little Emma. They'd filled in a family coordinator section, and there it was, financial guarantor, Delilah Chen, signature required. My stomach dropped when I got to page 3 and saw the fine print buried in the terms and conditions. It said, in the event the primary booking party fails to remit payment in full within 14 business days, the listed family coordinator assumes responsibility for all charges, fees, and penalties, including cancellation costs. I read it twice, then let out a bitter laugh that echoed off the break room walls. She actually thought I wouldn't read the fine print, I said out loud. Tessa crossed her arms. She was counting on you feeling too guilty to say no. My hands tightened around the papers, not enough to tear them, but enough to feel them crinkle. I didn't need to say anything. The silence said everything. I slipped the entire packet into my work bag and mentally filed it under a documentation. You know, I said, standing up and brushing off my scrubs, if she put half this energy into finding an actual job, she wouldn't need to con her family into funding her fantasies. Tessa raised an eyebrow. Want me to throw this in the medical waste bin? No. Let her wonder what I'm thinking, I said. I walked to the computer station and opened my email. I typed a new message and addressed it to the resort's customer service department. No pleasantries, no explanation. Subject was unauthorized booking inquiry. Body said, please confirm that no financial guarantees have been processed under my name without my written consent. All future communications regarding this matter should be directed to my personal attorney. D. Chen. I hit send. Then I opened my phone calendar and created a new reminder for next week. Title was Document All Family Financial Schemes. I stared at the screen for a long moment, then whispered to myself, that's the last time they treat me like a walking checkbook. This wasn't about hurt feelings anymore. It wasn't about family loyalty. This was about boundaries. And in my world, boundaries aren't suggestions. They're steel walls that protect what matters most. Saturday morning at Sunset Manor felt different. Tense. Tessa found me at the nurse's station, looking worried. Did you approve the facility tour for Wednesday? She asked. No, I said, stopping cold. I haven't scheduled any tours. She pulled up the system. The Chen family group was exploding with messages. My stomach dropped. She wouldn't, I said. Oh yes, she would, Tessa said back. We checked the visitor request forms. There it was. Family care consultation, Amber Chan, requesting tour for potential family placement. No call to me. No courtesy check. She'd booked my workplace like I was just another employee. She's trying to corner you, Tessa said. If she shows up with family, you'll look unprofessional refusing to help. I pulled up yesterday's security footage. There was Amber, strutting through our lobby in ridiculous heels, taking selfies with our award plaques. She's treating this place like her personal photo studio, Tessa muttered. I leaned back, arms crossed. She thinks I won't make a scene at work, I said. Don't cancel the appointment. Let her show everyone exactly who she really is, I added. I opened a new file, Chan, Professional Conduct Documentation. You want everything on record? Tessa asked. Every angle, I replied. Wednesday afternoon, I was home organizing nursing certifications when my phone buzzed. It was from Tessa, check the lobby security feed. It's happening now. I opened the staff portal on my laptop. Amber was clicking across our lobby in high heels, already ranting. This decor scheme? This looks like a 1980s hospital. She gestured wildly at our calming color palette while our administrator stood frozen. You call this therapeutic? My Instagram followers would roast this place, she yelled. She snapped her fingers at a nursing assistant. Hey, cleaning lady. Where's someone who understands customer service? Amber asked. The young woman, clearly intimidated, gave a nervous smile and kept walking. Then Amber crossed the line. She grabbed a clipboard and slammed it down, scattering our welcome brochures. That's when Tessa appeared on screen, spine straight, expression professional but firm. This is a healthcare facility with vulnerable residents. We require all visitors to treat our staff and patients with respect, Tessa said. Amber sized her up like a bug. Do you even know who my sister-in-law is? Amber said. Tessa didn't miss a beat. Do you know where you are? She asked. The lobby went quiet. Even the residents paused their activities. Amber scoffed and stormed out, muttering about connections. I rewound the footage twice. Her voice, her attitude, her complete disregard for elderly residents. All captured perfectly. I opened my professional documentation folder and saved the video. Every rule violation was there. Disruptive behavior toward staff. Disrespectful treatment of residents. Inappropriate conduct in a healthcare setting. She thought she was pressuring me into compliance. Instead, she'd handed me everything I needed to protect my workplace. 2 days later, Sunset Manor's main conference room had been transformed for the Whitmore Family Care consultation. Fresh flowers brightened the mahogany table, comfortable chairs were arranged in a welcoming circle, and our finest informational materials were displayed like we were showcasing our very best. Amber swept through the lobby entrance like she was walking a red carpet, all exaggerated gestures and practiced laughter. Jasper shuffled behind her, looking uncomfortable in clothes that didn't quite fit. Behind them came Diana and Fletcher Whitmore, moving with the careful dignity of people who'd spent decades earning respect. You could tell they were the kind of people who noticed everything and forgot nothing. Amber gestured wildly at the reception area. Isn't this place amazing? It's like a luxury hotel that happens to have medical staff. She said. From the nurses' station, I watched through the glass partition as Tessa greeted them with professional warmth. She caught my eye for just a moment and gave the slightest nod. It was time. I smoothed my uniform, checked my badge, and took a deep breath. Down in the lobby, Amber was in full performance mode. The nursing staff here is top-notch, she was saying, gesturing toward our awards wall. My sister-in-law has connections with all the best caregivers. Very exclusive. Diana Whitmore tilted her head slightly. And who is your sister-in-law? She asked. Amber's smile stretched too wide. Oh, we're very close. She practically runs this place, she said. Fletcher's expression sharpened. Practically? Before Amber could fumble through another exaggeration, Tessa stepped forward and pressed her tablet. The background music in the lobby stopped, and I walked calmly down the hallway toward them. My steps were measured and professional. Every eye turned toward me. I paused just outside their circle, made eye contact with Diana Whitmore, and extended my hand. Good afternoon. I'm Delilah Chen, registered nurse and senior care coordinator here at Sunset Manor, I said. Fletcher blinked once, slowly. Diana's eyebrows rose slightly, but her expression showed interest, not confusion. Amber looked like someone had just pulled the rug out from under her. You work here? She stammered. But you used to make so much money in tech. I turned to face her directly, my voice steady and clear. A smart professional doesn't define herself by her past salary. She builds her reputation through the quality of her work and lets her expertise speak for itself. Diana's smile was slow and approving. How refreshing. I was beginning to think young people today only cared about showing off their wealth. Fletcher nodded with obvious respect. Impressive career transition, Miss Chen. Very impressive, he said. Jasper looked at me with something new in his eyes. Not pity, not confusion. Understanding. Amber stood frozen, her mouth slightly open, trying to find words that wouldn't come. I didn't gloat. I didn't even acknowledge her shock. I simply turned to Tessa. Please show the Whitmores to our family consultation room, I said. I'll join you in a moment to discuss their care needs. Tessa nodded and gestured professionally toward the hallway. As they moved away, Amber lingered behind, her breathing shallow, her hands shaking slightly. I didn't even glance at her as I followed the group. For the first time in years, I didn't need anyone's approval. I had my professional reputation, and that was worth more than any family connection. We walked through the facility at a measured pace, Diana and Fletcher observing everything with the careful attention of people who understood quality care. Diana pulled me aside near our memory care wing as Amber trailed behind, desperately trying to insert herself back into the conversation. "You've built quite a career here," Diana said quietly. "From the ground up," I replied. She nodded, giving me a look that said she recognized dedication when she saw it. "You're exactly the kind of professional we hope to find," she said. "Competent, caring, and honest about what you do," she added. Amber's voice came from behind us, small and desperate. "Wait, Mrs. Whitmore, can we talk about the family discount I mentioned?" But Diana didn't turn around. Fletcher appeared at her side a moment later, placing a gentle hand on Jasper's arm. "You might want to think carefully about who represents your family," he said quietly. Jasper looked at Amber, then at me. He didn't say anything, but his silence was louder than words. It was the silence of someone finally seeing the truth. Amber slumped against the hallway wall as the Whitmores continued their tour, her carefully constructed facade crumbling like wet paper. I didn't stop to comfort her. I didn't gloat either. I simply continued doing my job, head high, steps steady, heart rate normal. That night, I returned to my apartment and turned off every light except the kitchen lamp. The quiet felt different now. Not lonely. Peaceful. I was sipping tea when my phone buzzed. It was from Gerald. "Can we talk?" I called him back. "Hey," he said. I stayed silent. "Maybe you should let this blow over?" "Amber's been through a lot with the baby," he said. That was it. Not, "I'm proud of you," or "You handled that well." Just, "Keep the peace." I laughed softly. "I stood there today and showed strangers who I really am, and you still don't see it," I said. He sighed. "It's not like that, Delilah," he said. "It is exactly like that. It always has been." I said back. "We just want to keep this family together," he said. "It's never been together, Gerald. It's been held up by guilt and my bank account," I said. He couldn't argue. "I'm not angry," I said, meaning it. "I'm just finished," I said. Long pause. "You don't mean that," Gerald asked. "I do." I hung up and slipped the phone in a drawer. Outside, Dallas sprawled under starlight. A train whistle echoed in the distance. I watched the city breathe, not waiting for callbacks or apologies. Just existing in my own space. I didn't lose a family tonight. I just stopped pretending I had one. 3 weeks passed. No drama, no crisis calls. Just silence that felt like freedom. I was updating patient files when I saw the email. Subject was "I'm sorry" from Gerald Chin. "You were right. I should have protected you. I'm sorry." No excuses, no deflection. Just honesty. I archived it without responding, but I smiled. Work was thriving. Tessa brought me consultation requests. "Diana Whitmore's daughter asked for you specifically," she said. Of course she did. "We'll take excellent care of her family," I said. That afternoon, a healthcare newsletter headline caught my eye: "Family member caught exploiting staff connections." I didn't need to read it to know what happened. I checked the family chat once. Amber's last message was a simple photo of Emma playing. No captions, no requests. The silence said everything. On my balcony that evening, Dallas lights twinkled below. I drove past their house last Sunday but didn't stop. Not from anger, but because I didn't need anything from them anymore. I used to think peace meant getting apologies and watching karma work. But real peace is quieter. Peace is saying no without explaining. Peace is walking away from energy drains. Peace is putting yourself first. Self-respect doesn't come from others treating you well. It comes from treating yourself like you matter. For years, I thought loyalty meant absorbing their problems. But martyrdom never saved anyone. You can care about family and still protect your boundaries. You can walk away from toxic relationships without guilt. I didn't win by fighting louder. I won by finally listening to my own voice.